Welcome back to the Eight Man Breakdowns podcast. This is where we discuss all phases of the game of football, including philosophy, play concepts, questions, and more. Today's topic is the no huddle offense. It's actually a question that was sent in to me by another coach. The question is, for a no huddle offense, what would you say is a better play call system using wristbands or hand signals? Okay, so I'm going to answer this question fairly short. I have a quick answer to this, but I'm actually going to go into deep detail about the benefits of each one and then tell you a little bit more about which one I prefer and why. All right, so first, though, I will say that there's no right or wrong. It's honestly just what you prefer. Okay, and so in my preference, I have to say hand signals, and I'll explain why as we get to it. But first of all, let's just talk about the advantages and disadvantages of each. So overall, I love the no huddle offensive system, period. Not huddling up, being a non-verbal offense, there's a lot of benefits to it. And so some of the benefits, first of all, is less communication. All right. It's easier to communicate to your players because all you got to do is give them a signal. Or if you're using wristbands, you give them a call. So if you say rainbow 5, all right, and then they look at the wristband, they go to rainbow, they go down to 5, and that's the play, and that's what they do. And so less communication, easier to communicate the play in and out to your players. And then another thing is less need for vocal leaders on your team. And honestly, just in the world today, it's tougher to find kids that want to be vocal leaders. I mean, they're so used to this instant communication as far as Snapchat, Zoom, FaceTime, all that stuff. They don't necessarily have to talk face to face in person. And so less communication is sometimes a benefit going forward with the kids that we have these days. Just the no huddle offense itself, it's quick and easy. All right. You save time and energy. So all that break the huddle, sprinting up to the line of scrimmage, getting set, or if you have your quarterback run all the way to the sideline, get the play, run all the way back to the huddle, call the play in the huddle, break the huddle, run to the line of scrimmage, and then go back into the huddle after the play. So what I mean by that is, yeah, it's quick and easy. You're saving time, no wasted energy. All you do is you yell your call, like I said, rainbow 5, or you signal in with your hands and feet or whatever type of signal you have, a nonverbal signal to tell them what the play is. Okay, so lots of benefits, not a lot of negatives, but I'll get into that again here in a little bit. So first, I want to kind of talk a little bit more about wristbands here. So with wristbands specifically, you can be as simple or as complex as you want it to be. All right, so for example, if you have a wristband that says rainbow 5, and even further example, let's say your left guard is the example here. Your left guard, when he goes down to rainbow 5, it tells him exactly what to do. Let's say that you made it extremely simple and you said, all right, left guard, you're going to pull to the right, kick out the right side. You can make it that detailed and simple, or you can just say zone right. You can, like I said, be as simple or as complex as you want to. There could be some issues with wristbands if your kids struggle with reading, right? So that might not be the best form of play calling or system wise if your kids don't read very well. Okay, so that would be maybe a drawback or a downfall of potentially using wristbands. Another downfall or negative, I guess, of wristbands, I would say, is changing your plays is not as easy. So after you've called Rainbow 5, the defense shifts or they adjust to your formation or whatever, and then you're like, crap, I don't want to run that. Say Rainbow 5 is zone right, and they, show a blitzer on the right side, or they just shift all the way over to the right side, whatever the case is. Now you got to go back through your call sheet and find, okay, so that's chocolate 8. I need to get, okay, so then yell chocolate 8. What I mean by is vice versa with hand signals, you don't have to look through your call sheet. You say, hey, check, check. And they look to the sideline and you give them a new signal based off of what the defense adjusted to. So getting more into the hand signals here. So again, you can make it as complex or as simple as you want. So if you have a signal for zone left, let's say you have a signal for zone left, that could be a signal for each position specific group, all right? Meaning one signal could mean everything for each position group. So if you said zone left was your left hand, for example, waving really high in the air, like you're waving to somebody with your left hand. All right, it could be that basic, or you can make it much more detailed. Let's say that's the signal for now, for example. Okay, so that could tell your O-line, all right, we're zoning left. That could tell your running back, all right, we're running the zone left track. And that could tell your quarterback, all right, it's zone read left. You're reading that backside D on the right side. Whatever the case is. Again, another benefit of hand signals, though, is you don't have to worry about all that time typing up the words, printing off the play sheets, the call sheets, the wristband sheets to update the wristband each week. And again, I mean, it just saves you time and effort right there. And finally, you can allow your players to make signals. That's a fun thing about hand signals is if you're struggling with coming up with a signal to call this play, ask your players. They have all sorts of ideas, right? They're high school kids. Their imagination is endless right now, right? So you can allow your players to come up and help make signals. And then another thing is when the season's over, if teams did pick up on your signals or whatever, then you can change them for the next season because you got to reteach the players everything. Anyways, going into that next year, you got to reteach a lot. So you could have your players change the signals. That way, you stay on the same page with your players. You stay fresh. Nobody steals and knows your signals year after year. And I will say, I mean, that's a big thing is to be adaptable at all times. I always push that onto my players, but coaches as well. And people will try to steal your signals. I'll tell you that right now. But just make them diverse. Make them not necessarily as easy. Have a signal for your left side, your right side, for your different run schemes, zone and counter and option and all that stuff. Have a different signal for each one, left and right. That makes it a little more diverse. And then maybe you can even have some dummy signals where you throw in a couple different random movements with your arms that don't mean nothing. Overall, I like hand signals way more than wristbands. Again, because there's many things. It's easier to change plays. You can allow your players to make the signals and have basically their own handprint on your offense. Then you can change the signals and plays whenever you want because it's faster. You don't have to look through your call sheet and find the right call. And again, it comes back to personal preference. Like I said, I prefer the hand signals for those reasons. But again, the wristbands are simple because, again, it saves so much energy and no wasted energy, and there's less communication all around. But overall, just keep your offensive system simple, and that way you could signal or you could call wristbands with everything out of your various different formations that you already have. So I definitely prefer a no huddle offense. I didn't necessarily think that I would. I never grew up in that, and I didn't go to college and run a no huddle. We didn't run it in high school, but the kids love it. I have a lot of fun with it. There's less communication, but it's easy. And again, there's no wasted energy in between plays, running to the sideline or running in and out of the huddle. And so I truly just love the no huddle system and the signals. And I come up with a bunch of different signals, but the kids have helped a ton with coming up with signals. And that's going to do it for this episode of the 8-Man Breakdowns podcast. Remember, videos come out every Tuesday night, so be sure to tune in. If you have a question for me, the best way to reach me is by commenting in the comment section below. If you've learned anything or enjoyed any of these videos, please click subscribe and check out some of my other videos right here on the screen. And like always, thanks for tuning in, guys.